Hi everybody, this is Steve from My Life Coaching, and today we're going to be looking at reframing, understanding what reframing is and how we can use it to help us succeed in life. So reframing, just to give a definition, is a tool and a technique used that allows us to identify and ultimately change a scenario, the way you think of a certain person, an idea, your perception of an event. And just to be clear, this is not something that from this one video you're going to understand completely, or you're going to be able to go away and do it. It takes a lot of practice to really understand the full range of reframing and what it can be used for, and how to actually implement it within a certain aspect of your life. But I'll try and break it down as simply as possible, and hopefully this will help, or at least put you on the right road to making that change in your life. So I have a client. He's struggling with confidence at the moment, and in particular it usually comes when he's in his business meetings. My client is a manager. He's responsible for several other team members that work underneath him, and it's all based around sales. And every couple of days they have a business meeting where they meet up with the senior managers and they report in about what they've done for over the week, or what's happening with figures, things such as that, things such as their performance ultimately. And there's one person within this meeting, one of the senior guys, he constantly questions him and his team. Any things that's been brought up, they cross-examine. But what he feels is they cross-examine it a hell of a lot more than what they do all the other people that were in there. So any other team manager, they don't seem to put as much emphasis on that. And he came out with a statement that he's making his life miserable and he seems to enjoy it. So I stopped him there and asked him, well, what do you actually know about this person and their intentions? What do we actually know about the situation? And that's the key question, because it made him stop and think, well, I don't actually know. I don't actually know why this person's doing this. It might be for the fact of, I personally feel that it's to make me miserable in terms of what I'm doing. But I asked him, do you actually know that for sure? And then I asked him the other question of, what else could it mean? What else could be happening with that person? And when we did this, we started to talk about different scenarios of why he would be doing this. And I asked him to think through this and come up with some of his thoughts, and asked him to ask himself questions in different ways and different scenarios. And one of the thoughts he came up with, well, with being in a sales environment, he might be under pressure himself, which is why he's reacting in the way he does. He might be having trouble in his personal life, which all could be true. We don't know, but all could be true. But I asked him to move away from that point, to not be so, to focus on something that's a negative. Within reframing, we want to try and keep things positive. So I asked him about, again, to think of another thought that comes into it. And he says, well, he's one of these guys that does help people progress in the business. So maybe he's helping me, he's putting me under a little bit more pressure than the others, because he can see that I could be a success. He's sort of almost pushing me to be a success because he can see what I can deliver. There we go. Automatically now his confidence level started to come back after he mentioned that point, because he realized that he wasn't picking on him, but we don't know for sure, but he wasn't picking on him because he's being horrible. It's just something that he enjoyed doing. What happens if he's focusing on him more? So that's the other thing, we changed the language slightly, so we're focusing on him more because he feels that he sees a potential in my client. He thinks that by pushing in this little bit extra, I can help him reach a greater potential within his position and ultimately be more successful. So through this conversation with him, we came to the conclusion, which usually happens with a lot of people when we work with the likes of reframing, that You have complete and utter control over the way that you think, and also the way that you question things and the way that you gather answers. But sometimes the way that you collect those answers aren't necessarily the right way, because you don't know the facts, you don't know the situation. There might be other ways around it, because usually what happens when you're in a situation and you're struggling or you're feeling a little bit anxious, you automatically go to the negative without looking at the possible positive solutions. Now, reframing is all about changing your mindset and changing what could be to what could be a negative to what could be a positive. So that was just one practical example of how you can use reframing and the benefits it can really give you by changing the way you perceive a certain situation or a person. But there's a lot more to it than that. Like I said at the beginning, this technique takes time, it takes practice for really to be successful in using it, because there's other things that you can do along with those situations. So we could introduce changing colours, backgrounds, sounds, the way that you physically perceive the person that you're dealing with, the way that they look, the way that they sound. There's a lot more to it, but by using this technique, it will ultimately help you break those barriers and break those problems that you're having, and allow you to progress and get to where you want to go to, get to that vision, get to that area of success. So if this is something that you found helpful and you want to find out a little bit more, get in touch with me via my website at www.molife.co.uk for a free one-to-one session for the first one, or comment below, let me know what you think of this. I could contact you directly by DM as well. More than happy to help out in any way possible. But it's a short video. I hope it's helped just to give you a better idea about reframing. And yeah, let me know your thoughts. Grab me on YouTube or any of my other social link channels and give me a follow. It'd be great to have you on board. See you next time.